Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 47th TWitWoW Monthly Q&A. We have got a grand total of 36 questions this time around, which is actually pretty many fewer than we usually get. We usually hover between 45 and 65, but 36 just means we're going to be able to get out of here sooner. And if anybody was unable to get their questions in this month, you've always got next month. And if you have more than 3 questions for next month, you can always just donate to the Patreon to get up to 5. So there are options. You have ways to get your questions in. And hopefully our next pinned tweet will actually have the correct date on it. All that being said, 36 questions. John, how you feeling about Q&A this month?
I'm feeling great, brother. Let's dive right into it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our first question was from Javaris. Our first set of questions was actually from Javaris because he was very proactive. He actually got both his April and May questions in back in April before we even got our April Q&A done and over with. So our 3 questions from Javaris from last April. First up, we've got, why is it so hard for these dumbass people to stay at home during this pandemic?
And I would just say very concisely that I think the anger, while not necessarily unjustifiable, is more misdirected. I think the better question is why hasn't our government provided enough of a robust social safety net that people are comfortable staying at home and don't feel compelled to take to the streets because of their own precarity of their job situation? I think it's very easy to get mad at these protesters. I'm mad at them myself at times for my own reasons. But I think the bigger failure lies in a government in one of the wealthiest nations on earth that can't be bothered to take care of its own citizens that aren't corporations. And I think that's where a lot of the anger and the frustration should be directed, is just the structural inequities, the structural failures that people can't even be taken care of in the midst of a pandemic. So that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah. I also think that it's a lot to do with culture and the way that people are raised to basically believe that your worth as a human being is directly correlated to how much value you generate for the, a capitalist system.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is a lot to do with that, I think. Second question from Javaris. Why is Florida so damn stupid? Because that's where old people go to die.
Well, I guess that's the fun answer, but again, I think that might be generalizing it just a tad, but I don't even know what was going on in Florida in the context of when Javaris asked this question. But again, I think really to fall back on Ashton's answer, when our culture operates a certain way, when you're conditioned to think of a certain way, that is hyper-individualism, free market good, all this other stuff, and you never really think beyond those paradigms, I think your anger inevitably, or your actions inevitably, are going to be misguided or misdirected at the wrong source. So, yeah, I just copy-paste pretty much.
I gotta admit, I'm a little bit blown away right now. I Googled average age by state, and it turns out Florida isn't even number 1. It's number 5. But the top 4 are 3. The top 3 are genuinely surprising. So the top 3 oldest states, and this is going by median age, which means that if you would list every person in that state, and it was, a list of 7 people, it's the 4th person. It's literally the middle number, right? And Maine's median age is 44.9. New Hampshire is number 2, John.
Oh, wow, nice.
At 43.0, and then Vermont, Bernie's state, is 3rd at 42.8. And then you got West Virginia at 42.7 and Florida at 42.2. And so, yeah, your top 5. Florida is top 5 in the oldest states, but the top 3 aren't. At least 2 of the top 3 aren't quite the type of dumpster fire that Florida is, at least to my knowledge. So, next up, we've got our third question from Javaris. What are the chances that the same people protesting are going to be trying to go to the hospital when they get corona?
Definitely all of them. I just think that that's the reaction. I saw a post recently of a guy that was loudly proclaiming that coronavirus was fake, and then the moment he got it, he was like, oh, this is no joke. Which,
that's what it takes sometimes. That's I think that's the biggest issue among people with a more conservative, right-wing, Republican-type mindset is that they only have empathy for people that they personally relate to. And if they feel like, oh, I've got a strong immune system, I don't have to worry about coronavirus, they don't give a fuck about the people that are immunocompromised or the old people or the children or anything like that that might potentially be, the virus might potentially be deadly for. They just care about themselves and people that they relate to personally. And, similar with like the whole women's rights and gay rights and all that stuff, if they can't relate to you personally, they don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, and while I don't, and again though, I think I can once again go back to the more holistic, overarching critique, because while I do absolutely expect that phenomenon to happen, and I agree with Ashton's assessment 100%, I don't think we should establish precedent, because I know some people should have said like, oh, they should be turned away at the hospital. I don't think anybody should be denied medical care. I think that sets a very odious precedent. But again, I think this is a call for better fucking healthcare.
Yeah, that's
more
true,
robust healthcare. Yeah. Like, so then you wouldn't even have to joke about, oh, turn this person away if they don't think coronavirus is real. How about instead we have better healthcare to accommodate everybody, both the non-believers that get smacked hard in the face by reality and the people that are exercising caution, but sometimes life just sucks. Maybe just have a healthcare system that can accommodate everyone despite ideological differences or just whatever differences may be. Again, I think we need to focus less on individuals, and more on systemic shortcomings and structural inequities.
Yeah, and you know what, dude? I'm actually glad Hypothesis said something in chat, because he actually did say, honestly, I don't agree with people protesting, but if I lost a family business because of the government, I might be a little pissed. See, that's the thing, though. You aren't losing a family business because the government has a shutdown going on. You're losing a family business because there's a shutdown going on and the government isn't helping people the way they should be. Like, legitimately, I think it was back in February, at the very latest March, Canada passed a bill that gave every adult $2,000 a month every month. And it was like, I think it was already set as like a minimum of 6 months that they were going to be doing that. So they were hooking people up and they're taking care of small businesses. Whereas in the US, small businesses barely got anything. It was all the big corporations that got all the money. And individuals, as long as you filed tax returns last year or this year, you got $1,200 one time. And that's it. And now there is legitimately tension in the Senate because Mitch McConnell doesn't want to pass another stimulus check. Like, that's how fucking awful our politicians are here in the US, and that's how fucking stingy and selfish the Republicans are. That they're trying to be like, no, the $1,200 that we sent people already was enough. Fuck your business if you're not prepared. But wait, no, the banks and the airlines, no, we have to bail them out because those are our friends.
I mean, essentially what he said. So yeah. Fuck them guys.
Yeah. So up next, finally, I shouldn't say finally because it's literally only our fourth question, but we got Rotten Butter already. First question from Rotten Butter is the first question from Rotten Butter.
Oh god, my month has been amazing. Are you kidding me?
Even if we just say Avatar: The Last Airbender, that's amazing right there. It was just good.
No, Avatar: The Last Airbender, I have cut down my internet time significantly this month and all months going forward. Like, this is my life now. So I've been reading a fuck ton. I got through 6 books this month, and I'm working on my 7th currently. So I've done a shit ton of reading. Avatar, he already said. We've been keeping up with the episodes of Rick and Morty, which you guys know I have found hilarious. In particular, one gag that we will not repeat here, because I like being composed. We're doing my family and I were doing Ozark on Netflix. We're already on the 3rd season. It's great. Thoroughly enjoying it. Got to thank Just Alex for the recommendation for that show. Great dude and a great recommendation. What else? Obviously still playing Rocket League, listening to the Joshi Pod. We did an episode of that last night. That's been really good.
Yeah, we got to listen to Yuki Kamifuku on the Joshi Pod last night. That was cool.
When I am on the internet, I'm just like catching up on things that I also wanted to read. I'm just on my fucking reading shit right now. Still playing Fire Pro. It's funny though because I got a game on Steam recently, and I just have to feel inclined to play it. That's why they had a big discount on GTA 5. In fact, I think you could get it for free. I didn't take it. 1, because it took up way too much space on my computer, and 2, I'm like, I don't even know when I'm going to game again outside of Rocket League with you, or the time when I do get Fire Pro in. Just because I don't care. I'm just really not on the internet much anymore. But I did get a game called what was it? I don't want to. Goddamn, no, that's not it.
Aegis Defenders.
No, I didn't want to take up all this time. I apologize, but it was essentially a game where the goal was to dismantle capital. Oh, it's called Tonight We Riot. Tonight We Riot, and it's you have to overthrow capitalism. It's a leftist-based game made by somebody that I think is actually a communist, so that's fucking based. And yeah, just good shit. I haven't touched it yet though, but I am excited to play when I get around to it. Let me think. What?
So did you not
else?
end up downloading Aegis Defenders then?
No.
You didn't even add it to your library?
No.
Well, shit.
Yeah,
I was hoping to
my
play
game,
that with you at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody had hopes for me when I was still connected to the internet. Those would probably be better be dashed. Because I just don't know when anything's going to happen for me, like, beyond, again, our time together of, like, YouTube, Rocket League, and the
Well, that's what I mean, though, is, like, at some point, you know, we could switch over to that from Rocket League, and it was free, so you could have just added it to your Steam library without installing it.
Yeah, that's on me. But, so, yeah, I've just been kind of chill, living my best life, and I really don't think I have many more updates. So, yeah, I'm just going to hand it over to Ashton, I guess.
Oh, geez. Well, I think it was this month that I got all my subscriptions. So I got a subscription to Curiosity Stream, which came with a subscription to Nebula, and I watched a few prehistorical, like, creature documentaries on there. My favorite was far and away Amazing Dino World. That was fucking amazing. Very well done on Curiosity Stream. I also got a subscription to DDP or DDT World, which is now I think just Wrestling Universe or something like that. They changed it. They rebranded it. It's still the same service, but the general idea is so that I could watch TJPW. And I went back and I watched a couple of older TJPW shows. And by older, I don't mean like 1990s. I mean literally like early 2019. So like a year ago or something like that. I watched some of that TJPW stuff. As far as what I've been doing on my free time, I kind of rediscovered a game that I used to be like unhealthily obsessed with. And I've been playing it, but I've also been able to control myself better nowadays than I used to be able to, because you gotta realize I used to spend literally every waking moment playing this game, and it was, like I said, it was unhealthy and it was bad. And now I've gotten back into it, but I'm spending less time per day on it than I used to, and I'm giving myself a cutoff where I'm not allowed to play it after a certain time at night, and I'm just trying to make sure that I have it under control so that I don't fall back into that hole. Then just to throw out the name of the game in case anybody's curious, it's called Goal Line Blitz or GLB2 because it's actually like the second version of the game because the first version is like very outdated and old school. It's a football simulation game where you get to make players or own teams and make tactics and build your players the way you want them and kind of like that. It's almost like an MMO Madden, except you don't actually control the players on the field. You just tell them like, oh, tackling style, try and, hit hard enough to, knock the ball loose, or pursuit style, conservative, make sure that they don't get a long gain, or aggressive, where you try and get a straight line to the ball carrier, or like for a quarterback, you have tactics where it's like, how often do you want your quarterback to roll out? Often, sometimes, or never. How often do you want your quarterback to scramble? Often, sometimes, or never. And then like for running backs, it's carrying style, powerhouse, north-south, combo, slippery, elusive. It's like you basically, you design your player and then you just kind of let them go do their thing on the field, and you can actually control what they're doing on the field. So it's not like Madden in that sense, but it's more of like a tactical thing where you are trying to get everything designed and your tactics all set before the game starts, so that then the game simulates and you just hope that you got it correct, basically. I've also been watching a lot of YouTube. John and I have been keeping up with a couple of channels that talk about Marvel stuff, like New Rock Stars, and then like Beyond the Trailer is another good one. We've also been keeping up with Stardom's YouTube channel. Like they put out, or they were prior to Saturday, they were putting out live streams almost every day. Plus, Momo Watanabe was playing a game called Judge Eyes, and I know we talked about that last month even. So we've continued watching that. Keeping up with Hermitcraft, all that fun stuff. Music-wise, since I feel like I do this every month too, let's see. Let me pull up my Napster and pull up my playlists, because I'm more about playlists than anything else. I actually started a 2020s playlist so that in like a decade I can, or rather, so that I can just, as I go, as I find new music and add it to my current favorite hits playlist, which is what I was about to go into. I can also just add it to my 2020s playlist, and then I can just have a rule where I don't ever delete anything from my 2020s playlist, where I do delete stuff from my favorite current hits playlist. So in like 3 years, I won't have anything on my favorite current hits playlist that came out this year, but I'll still have all of the shit that came out this year on my 2020s playlist. So in a decade, I can go back and I can see all the music that I liked throughout the 2020s. I think it's a really cool idea, and it's my first time ever trying it, and I'm really excited to see the results in a decade. So, if we're still doing this in 2030, ask me about it, and I'll see if I can remember to look back and tell you. As far as music that I've discovered this month, I guess May will forever be the known as the month that Ashton discovered Doja Cat, because I added Say So to my playlist for the first time. There's also a song by a relatively new artist named Chelsea Collins called "Oh 07 Brittany" that I really liked. Martin Garrix has a new song called "Higher Ground" that I liked. A new Justin Bieber song, "Intentions," I liked. There's this song called "Coffee" by a dude named Quinn XCII, and I think that's like 92, I want to say, in Roman numerals. I'm not entirely sure if that's right. I think it's 92 though. That I really like. It's really chill. It's chill, and it's just gives out good vibes. I just really like it. And I also kind of took a bite of the TikTok cookie, because the song "Roxanne" by Arizona Zervas is now also on this playlist. And John, I wanted to play this for you, but I forgot about it. Eminem dropped a single that unfortunately does feature Juice WRLD, who did pass, I think, either earlier this year or later last year. I think it's Juice WRLD's last single, though. But it's an Eminem song featuring Juice WRLD called "Godzilla." And holy shit, this is unironically the first Eminem song that I've liked in like 12 or 13 years. It's incredible. It's so good.
Yeah, I know that, I liked his album Kamikaze for the most part. But then
this album is called "Music to Be Murdered By."
See, maybe that's the one that came out most recently. I got to admit that I didn't listen to all the songs, so maybe I missed Godzilla. But I was kind of meh on it, honestly. I thought Kamikaze was really good. If Music to Be Murdered By is the album I'm thinking of, I'm like, it's all right. But he always has that one song. I feel like every album always has that one song where it's like, you see that spark from him again, and you see like how good he is even at his age, and where he is, because he's no longer the angry guy anymore.
The last verse on this Godzilla song is fucking ridiculous. Like, I've always known that Eminem was a good rapper. It's not something that's new to me, but he's just reminding everyone, like, fuck you, I'm the best.
Yeah, dude, I love when he gets like that, because again, he's not the angry, drugged out guy anymore that's like fighting the system, but when you piss him off enough, you kind of bring it out of him, and it's beautiful. Like, I hate to say that he's so good when he's angry, but peace is overrated.
All right.
Oh, man.
I think that about covers it for me. Blackpink. I actually kind of, quote unquote, discovered. They've been around forever. Well, for a few years now at least. And I actually had Doo Doo on one of my playlists one time. And I also had "One Kiss" by Dua Lipa featuring Blackpink on a playlist at one point. But I recently just got really into Blackpink and made a whole playlist that has 15 of their songs on it and everything. So I would say that was this month too. That's about it though. Oh, and All Time Low. I got back into All Time Low this month too. So that's about the extent of it. Already kind of talked about everything that we watched, so I'm just gonna kind of leave it at that. So it was a pretty good month though. That being said, let's move on to Rotten Butter's second question. It's actually just for me. And he asked, have you ever considered getting into speedrunning? And if you did, what game do you think you could play the fastest? Well, it's kind of interesting because I have watched I'm aware of the speedrunning community, and it very much interests me. But I also, I think, have gotten familiar enough with the speedrunning community that I realize that being a really good speedrunner is so much more about just memorizing a series of button presses than it has anything to do with actually being good at a game. Like, anyone can speedrun a game if you just want to bad enough. Because it's literally just a matter of muscle memory and actual literal like brain memory and being able to remember sequences of events as you go. Like, that's pretty much all that speedrunning is. So in that sense, I don't really have much of an interest in speedrunning. But at the same time, just being able to kind of beat games as quickly and as efficiently as possible, that interests me. Even if I'm not actually ever going to try and get any world records, I still find it really interesting the way that some people make a point to try and find the quickest, most efficient way to beat games. I also don't love a lot of the ways that some of the games that I like get speedrun, and not in the sense that like I think they're wrong for the way that they're playing the game, more just like I fucking hate RNG manipulation. And that's like a really common thing with Golden Sun, where like people literally the only way that you can possibly get a world record on a speed run of Golden Sun is by manipulating the ever loving fuck out of the random number generator. Like, that's it literally has gotten to the point that it's not even about playing the game. It's just about getting the right random numbers. And for me, I feel like that's like a cop out and like a shitty way to play a game. I would rather, be able to actually just play a game legit, beginning to end. I also personally prefer not having to go out of my way to grind. So that's almost a part of my play style, where I like to try and beat a game beginning to end without having to go out of my way to grind levels if I can help it. Just trying to be as efficient as possible. So that's kind of my thing. So it's not speedrunning at all, because obviously the actual speedrunners have their way of doing things, and I respect that. I just don't personally enjoy playing games that way. So like I said, I'm never going to be somebody that tries to get a world record. If there's any game that I would ever be able to get a world record in, it's fucking Minecraft. Legitimately, I think if I really wanted to put the time into it, I genuinely think that I could get at least close to a world record for beating Minecraft. And it's because I've been watching a lot of people do that lately. So I feel like, well, shit, if they can do it, man, like I feel like I have some strats up my sleeve that I might be able to kind of get close to them with. And it's, in particular, my absolute favorite Minecraft YouTuber right now, his name is just Dream. He literally just goes by Dream, and he is in the race for the Minecraft speedrunning world record. And it's incredible to watch the dude go to work. It's really amazing. And I love kind of watching his gears turn in the game. And he also does these series where it'll be like him versus like two other people, and it will be like him trying to beat the game, trying to beat Minecraft, trying to get to the nether, get blaze rods, make eyes of ender, get to the end, kill the ender dragon, and enter the portal before people can kill him. And their only objective is to kill him. It's pretty fucking cool. It's like an edge of your seat kind of series that I love watching. So it's worth watching if you're into Minecraft at all. That being said, though, that's about the extent of what I actually would think about trying to speedrun. Everything else, I just care more about trying to have fun, trying to find the most efficient, effective ways to beat the game without cheesing, basically. So that's kind of my thing. Third and final question from Rotten Butter is for both of us. What is love?
Baby, don't hurt me. I guess if we're gonna
don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. Nope.
No more.
Do you know who sings that song, John?
No, but I've heard it in so many movies. But who's the artist?
Hadaway.
Oh, cool. All right.
It's a cool name for an artist. Yeah, it's Hadaway. All right, next set of questions are from Hypothesis. First up, if you could choose a non-Latino wrestler to join WWE's version of Los Ingobernables, who would it be?
How about you go first on this one?
Well, since he was kind of an honorary member of Los Ingobernables in Japan, and he's in WWE, I'm going to say Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, I like that. So I've got to choose another member for LIJ here.
That's not
Latino.
Latino.
LIJ. That's not Latino. Okay. And
it's not LIJ either. It's just Los Ingobernadores.
It's just Los Ingobernadores. Yeah, that's why I call it myself. But, so non-Latino. Because I feel like a name's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm kind of struggling with this one. I'm trying to think, because I don't know why, but I keep going back to, like, the SmackDown side.
Yeah, there was one other person that I had in my mind that's also on SmackDown that I don't want to say out loud in case you think of the person first.
Fuck. You know what? And of course it's obvious, but because of his success in Lucha Underground and everything, I'm going to go with fucking John Morrison. Go back to being Johnny Mundo and fucking ride that shit. I think it'd be cool. So I'll just go with Johnny. That's always a safe bet.
Yeah, my other option was going to be Cesaro.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like that, actually.
Yeah. All right, second question from Hypothesis. Do you think Sasha being the only 4 horsewoman not to win at WrestleMania 36 will be used to build to her finally getting her moment at WrestleMania 37?
I fucking hope so, because I was even talking to Ashton the other night about how it allegedly was the plan to do Bayley versus Sasha at SummerSlam because it was going to be in Boston, Sasha's hometown. But the pandemic, they're kind of delaying that, which, in a way, if that's true, maybe that's not such a bad thing because it shows the WWE sees the value in that matchup and they're taking it seriously and they do one in front of a crowd, which I can't blame them for. But at the same time, I'm kind of exasperated as a Sasha fan because I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. If it isn't bad booking, it's like what they'd call in insurance companies like an act of God. Like, of course a fucking pandemic would happen, right? Right when WWE gets over their bullshit and they're like, okay, guys, I know we've waited long. Some would argue even too long. But we're finally going to do this feud. And then, end of the world. Well, doesn't that fucking suck? So, I hope Sasha gets something. Anything. I just want this to happen. Let these two just wrestle each other and do the fucking thing. I don't know if, like, God just intervened and was like, no, Brooklyn was too perfect. They can never do it again because that match needs to be preserved for all time. And everything ever since has just been an effort to thwart them trying to make that magic again. But let it fucking happen. And let Sasha go over.
Do you really think Kyrie would do that to us?
I mean, she's a sweetheart, but you know, I guess even a goddess can make mistakes. I know that kind of is counterintuitive, but what the fuck? So I may have to talk to Kyrie and be like, look, I know you love wrestling, and I know we all love that match, and you want us to hold on to that feeling, but we also need to create new memories. So let them kill each other. Just let them kill each other. That's all.
Do you know what I want more than anything?
What's that?
Even if it's not Bayley, what I want more than anything is for Sasha Banks to win a women's championship in like the beginning of a year and have her first ever successful title defense happen at WrestleMania. I don't want her to win the title at Mania because that could literally just mean, okay, she's going to drop it in, a month. I want her to win it before Mania and have her first successful defense be at Mania because she's still, to this day, never successfully defended a women's championship on the main roster.
Which is also a crime. What we need to charge somebody for. I fucking God. So, yeah, just give Sasha all the things. Successful title defense, big Mania moment, the fucking works.
And for your actual question hypothesis, I do think that she will get her quote-unquote moment at 37, but I don't necessarily think that they're going to use her not winning at Mania 36 to build to that. I think that it'll happen, but I don't think that it'll be off of the back of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I can understand that.
Third question from HPT. If WWE were to enter let me read this from the beginning again. If WWE were to fully enter a cinematic era, who would make the best face of that era?
The best face of a cinematic era.
Roman, right?
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Roman too, dude. I feel like I'd actually, now that you say that, I want to see Roman in a cinematic match and kind of see how that plays off.
Yeah, because I think that the current era where we've got like 98% normal matches and 2% cinematic, I think Drew is the right answer. But if we went to the opposite, if we went to like 98% cinematic, I think Roman would kind of retake the number 1 spot from Drew as the best option for the face of the company.
Yeah, I actually completely agree with you.
Because as great as I think Drew is, I do think that Roman kind of understands the cinematic side of sports entertainment a little bit better than Drew does.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely.
All right, so let's get to our next set of questions. We've got our first set of 5 actually here from Super Blue. First question from Super Blue: explain, God damn it, Super Blue, explain why you didn't pick Kushida for Power Rangers TWitWoW. He's the most OP badass in wrestling. You need him.
Oh God, I want to be an asshole so bad. Hold on.
I feel like I already was just by using that voice.
I'm rubbing the temples counterclockwise to suppress it. Hold on a second. Okay. All right. I didn't pick him just because I didn't want to, and I really didn't feel like he fit the scheme of what I personally wanted to do. If the goal was to get me into Power Rangers more when I only cared about it a little bit when I was younger, Kushida would be the last person to achieve that desired effect. So I just kind of, you could call it a bit selfish, but I kind of just envisioned myself as the audience when I assembled my team. So yeah, I think that was a polite way to answer that question. I'm good.
I think, honestly, to me, the reason that I didn't pick him, I'm just going to be straight up. I just think he takes the fun out of wrestling for me. He's just no fun to watch wrestle. To me, he's like, his overpoweredness makes me not enjoy watching him wrestle because I never feel like there are stakes. He's got a lot of Charlotte in him in that way, but yeah, I just don't enjoy watching him wrestle. So why would I want him on my team?
Yeah, exactly. I think you said it beautifully, friend. Next question.
Next question from Super Blue: when you get to request 100, will there be a special background for it? I mean,
that's in Ashton's.
Probably not. No.
Yeah. Well, there you
go. Third question is actually just for me too. How do you feel about Dallas signing Andy Dalton, and what effect will it have on getting Dak to sign long term? I don't think Dak's going to sign long term. I think if they want to keep Dak around, they need to give him a shorter term deal. 3 years, $100 million. I think he would take that, especially if it was like fully guaranteed. I think he would jump all over that. The problem, the thing that's differentiating the Cowboys from Dak and being able to sign Dak is the time. It's not the money, it's the time. I think he'd be willing to accept, 30 to 35 million. I don't think he's like trying to get 40 million a year out of him. I just think that he doesn't want to sign for more than 3 or 4 years, and they want him really badly to sign a 5-year contract, so they're fighting him on it. I think the last time I saw, they offered him 5 years, $170 million, which would be $34 million a year, which I think he'd be willing to accept that much money, but he turned it down because he doesn't want to be locked down for 5 years. So I think that either A, he's going to end up getting to walk after this year with Dalton becoming their new sort of quote-unquote franchise QB until they give up on him and try and find someone new. Or B, they're going to have to compromise and sign him to like a 4-year, $36 million deal, just sweeten the pot a little bit, and just call it there. Like that's, to me, those are the only 2 real options for the Cowboys are let Dak walk and try and pretend that Andy Dalton's anywhere close to as good as him and watch him go to like fucking Washington and light your ass up for the next 20 years, or sign him to a 3 or 4 year deal to keep him around and ensure that you don't lose him. I think that's what it comes down to. So, fourth question from Super Blue. Is this just for you, John? Let me check real quick. Q&A questions. Super Blue, fourth question. This is just for you, John. Cut a promo on AJ Styles and Nia Jax failing to win their respective Money in the Bank matches and drop a fail bomb on Nia.
I mean, her existence is a fail bomb. You failed, Nia! You failed! There's that. So, as far as Alan goes, look, it's fucking Alan. He had Butterfingers. It happens. I'm not going to dogpile him a lot. Dude's already traumatized. I laugh at him in the privacy of my own home. I'm good. As far as Nia, really, what can I say that's insulting her? She's dangerous. She's reckless. And actually, let me qualify. I think she's dangerous and she's reckless. I've actually seen some pushback on this, that Nia maybe shouldn't be getting that much grief. I respectfully disagree. I think she's awful. I think she's dangerous. I don't think anybody should share a ring with her. And I feel like any quote-unquote promo I would cut doesn't change the overall issue that she's still employed, that she's still in proximity to people that we all love and care about watching. Again, Kyrie, my favorite, which is why this hurts a bit much to like even talk about this, a bit further.
Yeah, dude, I was going to say, he actually didn't even ask this question just this week. He asked this question back on the 18th. So this was like 10 days ago. So he was ahead of the curve on this.
He really was, because, Kyrie got busted open. And again, she was in proximity to Nia Jax. Now, is that to say that it's Nia's fault? I mean, I personally believe that it is. And other people are going to be like, oh, well, we don't, know anything or whatever. But, like, not to be that guy, but I'm just going to be honest. If things keep happening and you're the common denominator, I mean, maybe fucking look inward. I don't know. I don't know. I think
the thing that makes me even angrier about the Kyrie situation is that we already have people on fucking social media trying to say, oh, she's injury prone.
Yeah.
Like acting like Kyrie's fragile after she spent, 5 years maybe? 4 or 5 years at least in Stardom, where they hit a whole hell of a lot harder and are a whole hell of a lot more stiff than they are in WWE. It's just the difference is they actually know how to work safe and not actually cause actual injuries. Like, that's the difference between Nia Jax and Japanese women. Japanese women hurt, they don't injure. Nia hurts and injures.
Exactly. I mean, he said it better than I could. Like, I'm tired of her. I'm tired of these discourses where nothing meaningfully is done, because she's going to get pushed because of who she knows, and maybe because WWE thinks she has a good look as like a monster character when there are better monsters to be found, like Jazzy Gabbard, for instance. Which, unfortunately nothing really happened with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'll be happy the day she no longer has a job here. It's really that simple. I've got nothing more to say than that.
All right. Fifth and final question from Super Blue. If New Japan and Stardom had a Money in the Bank tower match like what WWE just did, who would you put in the match and how would it all go down?
You can go first on this, friend.
So he did add that he doesn't watch Stardom, but his picks for New Japan would be Jay White, Juice Robinson, Suzuki, Sonata, and Ishii. Oh, and Yano too. And Yano, there's 6. That's right. I forgot it was 6. I wanted to think 5. So for me, for New Japan, since Naito is the current champion, I would say Okada has to be in it. I would definitely want to put Tanahashi in it. I would say let's get Moxley in there since he is a New Japan guy now. I do want Ishii in there for sure, and Suzuki. We got to have representatives from each faction. And we have another representative from LIJ. Let's also throw Sonata in there. So I think I had a lot in common with Super Blue there. For the women, for Stardom, I'm going to move forward under the assumption that Julia is going to be their white belt champion as soon as they get back to doing shows. So I'm not going to include her in this. If otherwise, I would. If I wasn't so certain that Julia was going to win their white belt pretty much as soon as she gets a shot at it, I would definitely include her in this. But because I'm assuming she's going to do that, I'm not going to include her in this. So I'm going to say that my 6, not including Julia or Mayu, who would be the champions in this timeline, are going to be Tam, Jungle, Konami, Natsuko Tora, Momo, and Utami.
Oh, I really like that. It's good shit.
So that's my 6. How about you, man? Are you going to change anything? Are you going to have any other people that you want to mention, or?
I actually really like your set for both. Fuck. So I guess with New Japan, my 6 there would be Suzuki, Juice, ZSJ. I agree about Jay White. Jay White's a great pick. That's 4. Ishii, that's 5. And then Sonata for 6.
Nice.
So I guess my big difference is ZSJ. And maybe, if not Sonata, because I was torn between Sonata and Ospreay, but I am going to stick with Sonata. But Ospreay, I guess, would be my alternate, if you will. And then Stardom would be Jun Konami, so Jungle Kiona and Konami. Oh God, I'm already forgetting names, dude. Holy shit, it's been that long since we've done Stardom. Fucking Saki Kashima. That's who it is.
Okay.
I'm so glad nobody helped me with that because I need to do this on my own when we come back. I don't need so many brain farts when we come back. So Jungle Kiona, Konami, Saki Kashima. Oh fuck! Recent events have made this a lot harder than it needed to be.
Yeah. I feel like, to be fair, you don't have to take this suggestion, but I feel like we've got to get Tam in there so we can get some pyro.
Tam, definitely. Absolutely.
She's a registered pyrotechnician. We got to do something with that.
Utami, and I would say, yeah, Kamitani. Give Kamitani the love there.
Okay, nice. I like that. I like that a lot. Maybe we see a running shooting star in a hallway.
Yeah, there you go. There you fucking go. That'd be fucking dope.
Yeah. All right, that's cool. Thank you. That was a really good last question, Super Blue. Thank you for that. Next set of 5 is from Iconic. First question, or in chat, he's Revel status, if he's still here. First question, how do you guys feel about more MMA fighters making the jump to WWE or professional wrestling in general?
I can't really give a general statement on that because it's all qualitative. Somebody that makes the jump could be really, really good, like a Matt Riddle, for instance.
Dude, yeah, I was just going to say, to me, it depends on how they make the jump. If they do it the right way and they go to the indies and they make a name for themselves and they really work their way up from the ground, I am all for it, especially if it means that we get more Matt Riddles and guys like that in the business. But if they pull a fucking, fucking Tyson Fury, which I know he's not MMA, or a Cain Velasquez, some shit like that, where they just immediately get brought in, signed to a big contract, pushed to the main event. No, fuck that.
Exactly. And, get them while they're young, to me, because I don't like older guys with an MMA background. Because then, to me, you're just telling on yourself that you want the name value. You don't necessarily want to tell, long-form stories of them. And you see this all the time in places like Impact Wrestling, and I hear even AEW is kind of doing something similar, I think, depending on how the last episode ended, because I heard it was, Mike Tyson and a couple of MMA guys, and it's like, if you want to do a one-off, I'm okay with one-offs, but I think you should also save your one-offs for big shows like a WrestleMania, not these fucking blood money shows. That's another thing I have a problem with.
Yeah.
But when you get them young enough, and especially again if they're good enough, like Matt Riddle's my model, my template. Yeah, absolutely. But I think it really is on a qualitative basis. I mean, dude, some people are gonna make that jump better than others.
Yeah, Riddle I think is the absolute best example, but as sort of an adjacent, kind of not exactly the same but similar enough angle, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle, he wasn't an MMA fighter, but he was an Olympic wrestler, which, frankly, we've seen a lot more success as far as actual in-ring quality goes from Olympic wrestlers and big-time, collegiate wrestlers, say for Jack Swagger, making the transition than MMA fighters. I feel like MMA fighters struggle a little bit more, but, if it leads to... I feel like as long as... And here's the biggest problem, I think. I think the biggest problem with this really is just Vince can't fucking help himself. Because to me, if we were just talking for every, Ronda Rousey, we're going to get a Shayna Baszler. And for every Cain Velasquez, we're going to get a Matt Riddle. I would be like, okay, that's awesome. But let's also think about how those people were portrayed. Velasquez and Rousey were both portrayed as these big-time main event elite caliber athletes. While Riddle and Shayna, we enjoy them both more than we enjoy Velasquez and Ronda Rousey, but they're also both portrayed as these just normal ass wrestlers. They're both good and they're both portrayed as pretty good for their experience level, but they're also portrayed as fucking rookies, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
So it really is just a matter of Vince McMahon needs to step back and take a break or something. I don't know. He's the problem. My problem shouldn't have necessarily been with Cain Velasquez and Ronda Rousey. It should have been with Vince McMahon being willing to pay them that much and push them that hard when he did.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Third question, actually it is second question from Iconic. What's more anticlimactic, winning by ref bump or winning by ref distraction?
I think winning by ref distraction's more anticlimactic.
Yeah, because... I don't know. You know what? I'm going to disagree with you now I think about it. Because here's the thing. I feel like if we're reacting to a match and the ref gets distracted and there's like a low blow or a chair shot, we get more excited for that than we get when a ref takes a bump. Because when a ref takes a bump, it's like, oh, God fucking damn. And at that point, anything that gets done, we just feel like, okay, well, nothing matters now. Fuck this.
You know, that was a fair point. Because I even think back to our live reactions where the ref bump has almost become like our point of laughter or whatever. Where it's like, oh, here it goes.
A ref bump is like, okay, well, this match is a joke now. Whereas if it's a ref distraction, it can be a little more exciting because it's like, okay, well, the ref's distracted. There's the low blow. There's the roll up. Is that going to be it? If it's a world title match, we have like that genuine moment of like, holy shit, is that going to do it? And there's a chance that the guy might kick out. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot more tension in the ref distraction than there is in the ref bump.
No, I think between your argument and the journey your voice went on in airing disagreement, like I'm compelled. I think I'm gonna
Thanks,
switch sides. That was great. So.
Oh my god. This is a really fun one. Our third question here from Iconic. What video game ability would you like to possess in real life?
Honestly, because I was thinking about this, because I have the doc pulled up with all the questions, so I'm kind of previewing these. And
are you anonymous blobfish?
Probably. And I think I'm gonna take the Banjo-Kazooie ability of just being able to keep a bird in my knapsack and we just go on adventures together. Because then that just entails like all these other abilities. So like, yeah, let's fucking do it. I'm just gonna grab a condor. I'm gonna grab a condor, stuff it in a backpack, and be like, "You're mine now. Let's go hunt for treasure." She'd be like, "What the fuck is happening?" So yeah, I definitely think exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then I'm gonna find a mole to teach us things. Yeah. Oh my god, is that guy that meant the Avatar that's like, fucking Kyoshi Island. That show's amazing.
It is. It really is. So
what video game ability
would I like to possess? I mean, if I have to take a video game that wasn't like inspired by some other medium, like obviously if I could, I would take like the fucking Spider-Man's ability to sling webs and that kind of stuff. But that's also almost unfair because that's less of a video game ability and more of like a cartoon or I guess more specifically a comic book ability, right? So if I had to pick a video game ability, I would choose Synergy in Golden Sun. I would choose to be able to use Synergy like they do in Golden Sun because with that they have all kinds of different abilities they can use. They can cast. There's a spell called Growth that can turn a little sprout into a full-blown tree or a vine or something like that. They have an ability called Whirlwind where you can blow leaves away from a door entrance. They have an ability called Move where you can literally just move a gigantic-ass pillar, a few feet. They have an ability called Lift where you can lift up big old boulders and move them out of the way. They have an ability called Reveal where you can literally reveal hidden objects in the ground and shit like that. There are all kinds of really useful, and hell, plus I'm not even mentioning the offensive abilities like Plasma and Gaia and Earthquake and all the shit that you can do to your surroundings. So yeah, I'm gonna take Synergy from Golden Sun. That seems OP as hell.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, dude.
All right, so fourth question from Iconic. What's more dangerous, someone with nothing to lose or someone with everything to lose?
I'm actually going to say someone with everything to lose, and here's why.
Yeah, I agree.
Someone with nothing to lose, it really depends on their mental health, because either they've given into that and they're just nihilistic and, like, emotionally and mentally destitute, or they could still persevere in the fight and be like, I know things are going to get better, so, it's like, whatever. Yeah. They still want to conduct themselves a certain way. A person with everything to lose, though, they have the creature comforts of life. They have something they want to protect, and to protect that, whether it's things are finally going well for me at my job, I've got this relationship, maybe this thing I'm aspiring for is finally coming together, whatever it is, they will fucking kill.
Yes.
Just be like,
that's exactly, like, to me, someone with nothing to lose, whether they're dangerous or not depends on how motivated they are, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And frankly, a lot of the time, if someone has nothing to lose, that could just break somebody, and then they just don't have any motivation to even be dangerous to anyone in the first place. Someone with everything to lose, though, there's no question they're going to be highly fucking motivated to keep the things that they have to lose.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'm right there with you, brother.
Yeah, all right. Fifth and final question from Iconic. Would wrestling be more dope and hype if all wrestlers called out their attacks? Fuck yeah, it would.
I mean, iconic. There's a reason why John Cena's the GOAT. You know, so.
Drop down, shoulder block, pro, 5-knuckle shuffle, let's go.
Elbow me out the corner after the Irish whip. So, yeah, I mean, John Cena calls out his attacks. John Cena's one of the greatest of all time. Coincidence? I think
Perhaps.
not.
maybe just a slight correlation, causation fallacy there, a little bit, maybe.
Your face is a fallacy. Next question.
Wow, my face does not look like a penis. What are you talking about?
Depending on the angle. Forget it. Next question.
I am not Kurt either.
Certainly feeling Kurt right now. I'll just read the next question.
God. I'll read it. Stop it. Relax. We've got a new set of questions from Mark. First up, out of 5, is come up with a crazy idea for a cinematic style match for WWE or AEW to do.
I'm going to say WWE because with AEW, I think Cody would inevitably have to be in it, and I'd rather die.
Well, he wasn't in their first one. He wasn't in the Stadium Stampede.
Oh, that is true. And I guess that is like a cinematic style matchup given all the cool stuff they did.
I mean, yeah, dude, I heard it took almost 2 hours to film that thing.
You know what, though? Worth it.
Yeah,
it really
was.
That was the most fun I had all night on that show. Oh, wow, Foster.
I feel like a lot of people would agree with you on that.
Nice selective hearing there, Foster. Love you. But let's see. Cinematic style matchup. God, see, I just love watching these. I can't come up with these. I'm not talented. I can't. I heard you, bestie. I'm just speaking the truth. Yeah, I really, because they already did the headquarters. NXT's done like undisclosed locations. So, you know what, I guess? You know what? Crazy. Undertaker has said, or I guess Mark Calloway, whatever you want to say, he wants a match befitting of The Undertaker. And we know, right, that he can work the cinematic matches. I would do a cinematic match in The Undertaker's hometown, Death Valley. Do a cinematic in the fucking desert. Have the two of them go at it. 2 souls enter, 1 soul leaves. And you do some Lucha Underground shit where the loser gets like their soul sucked out or something and it goes into the fucking cosmos or some shit. We go from day to night in the desert, and night is when the battle concludes and the Undertaker is victorious. Or you can even retire him that way. And he dies in Death Valley. Where he was born, he returns in death.
That would be dope. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah,
hell.
I'm thinking a Death Valley cinematic matchup as Undertaker's final WrestleMania match.
That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
See, Mister, I'm not talented enough over here. Just with a dope ass idea on the spot.
It took time, okay, and I'm bashful and I'm hiding my face while you answer things. So, you go. Say what you came up with.
Reveal your face for everyone. We don't want to see it.
No, I'm hiding in this book on a page that I already read. Okay, but what's your idea?
I don't have one yet. I'm still thinking of one.
Well, then I'll just talk to these beautiful people while you think, because we know your idea is going to be dope. Foster said a cinematic match where the Usos cut their promos. It's half match, half rap battle.
That's cool. Yeah, that is cool.
People want some match inside Vince's mind. That's inevitable.
Okay, I thought of something.
Okay.
A literal Las Vegas street fight where John Morrison and The Miz fight the New Day in the streets of LV.
Yes! Let's do it.
I want it. I know that it's not actually Hollywood, but I always associate Johnny Mundo / John Morrison with Vegas for some reason. So I want to see them going in and out of casinos. Maybe they tease a strip club and then they're just like, nah, not today. And they look away and they turn around. Like, I want to see all of it. Yeah, I want to see them, like, fight into fucking Caesar's palace and they break the fountain or some shit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, brother. That sounds fucking dope as hell. I'm down with that.
Okay, next question from Mark. What are your thoughts on a Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania 37 between The Fiend and Edge?
I think it'd be cool. I mean, The Fiend preys on insecurities and fears, and see, that's the one bad thing about wasting this narrative on Borton, like, you know, his Edge doubting himself or whatever, because that would have been perfect for Fiend. But I understand, though, why you wouldn't want to go to that match right away either. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. But that would have been perfect for a Firefly Funhouse match. Just really take Edge through, like, are you confident? Like, every time you step in that ring, all that goodwill you built up, medically with your neck and everything could just go right out the window. Is it worth that risk? And really going into Edge's psyche on a deep and incisive level, I think it could work. Absolutely, I'd be interested in that.
Plus Mark also added that he thinks it could be good because there's plenty of material, and considering how losing to The Fiend changes people, it could lead to an Edge heel turn, which feels like it's an inevitability during this current run.
Absolutely, I agree with Mark there 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I definitely agree too, yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's a cool idea, and it feels like, if they're going to kind of use the more cinematic matches to kind of protect Edge, it would work really well, but I also just don't really know if Edge is at the top of my list for who I would want against The Fiend in a Firefly Funhouse match in general. Like, sure, it would be cool, but, like, we already got John Cena in there. Why can't we get someone else that's, like, real? I guess Edge would be a pretty good opponent for The Fiend, too, but I'm more thinking, like, we've already seen, again, The Undertaker, but I feel like that would be crazy as hell, too. Like a fucking Firefly Funhouse Boneyard, man. Like, they combine the two concepts into one somehow.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Oh, man, that sounds fucking great.
Yeah, so there's just some other crazy shit that they could do. Edge is a good option, though. I definitely think, especially if they would use it to initiate a heel turn, definitely is an interesting prospect. Third question from Mark. If WWE did a Stadium Stampede match, who would you want to be in, or who would you want to be on the 5-person teams? And he also did add more recently that you can decide whether you both pick 2 teams, whether you and I each decide upon them together, or if we want to draft teams to face each other's or anything like that. He also said that we can do intergender if we like. So all those things are up in the air. How do you want to handle this?
I was just thinking we would both come up with our own 5-person, I guess, intergender teams. Like, I'll take advantage of that role, and we could just both come up with our 5 teams, because I've already got some ideas in mind, unless you would want to go back and forth. So I'll leave it to you, Ed.
The thing is, dude, if we're both picking teams to face each other, we almost have to do the draft, because if one person picks first, they're going to take all the best options.
Right. Yeah, I was just thinking more like we both answer the question individually, you know what I mean, about 2 teams that we would have face each other, like, I guess from a GM standpoint.
So we're each going to come up with 10 people total each.
Yeah. Do you think you could do that, or do you think it would be better?
Yeah, I could probably do that. Yeah, man. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
Sure, you can go first, man.
Okay. Well, I would have it be, let's see. You know what? To keep it kind of going with the current times, I would want it to be Team Seth versus Team Ray.
Ooh, I like that.
We would have Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, Austin Theory, and I wish I could add Garza and Andrade, but they don't get along with Theory anymore, so I'm assuming that that's kind of broken off. So, we'll just add AOP. There's your 5 for that side. AOP makes a lot of sense, and being in this style match would kind of protect them as far as them not having to actually work a proper wrestling match. And then the opponents, it would be Ray, Alistair, Humberto, and Cedric and Ricochet.
Nice. I like it.
Actually, yeah, that makes sense, right? Who has Alistair been teaming up with recently?
Fuck. Has he been teaming up with somebody? Because I know Seth has been giving him shit again. But, it was Ray that Alistair was teaming with recently.
Yeah, okay, so that does work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Ray, Alistair, Humberto, and, Cedric and Ricochet. I like that. I like that. We're going to stick with that. That's good stuff.
Okay, so for me, on the, I guess, quote-unquote heel side, I would have the Dirt Sheet, so Miz and Morrison.
Okay, that's 2.
AJ Styles.
Nice.
Firefly Funhouse Bray, so not The Fiend. And because AJ is on SmackDown, right? They confirmed that?
Yes. He has actually been traded to SmackDown for, and I quote, future considerations.
And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I do think he does well in multi-person environments. King Corbin will be my 5th person on the heel side. Babyface side, Daniel Bryan. Fucking Jeff Hardy, because if we're doing like a cinematic thing, he's going to want to dive off something crazy. You know he will.
Yep.
So we'll get that in there. Daniel Bryan, Jeff Hardy, Elias.
I like it.
Let's see who else, because that's 3.
Usos or New Day, maybe?
Yeah, actually, that's what I was thinking of. Thank you. Kofi and Big E for New Day. And then that's my 5. Yeah. There we
awesome.
Go.
I love it. I hope Mark likes it too. 4th question from Mark. Since you were unable to talk about the Bayley stuff from SmackDown on your catch-up commentary, what were those thoughts?
Can I actually go first on this?
Sure.
I'm fucking loving Bayley right now. I actually tweeted recently, I think she's one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. Like, because to me, here's the thing. For me personally, because me and Ashton, I always say, like, collectively, we've watched wrestling decades. And I think I'm actually coming up on 2 decades soon, because I started again in, like, 2002.
Yeah, dude. We are, combined, we are easily over 40 years at this point.
Absolutely. And so, when I watch wrestling, the way I kind of determine if somebody's, like, really in a rhythm and on top of their fucking game is if they can just have great matches with just anybody. Now, Bayley's Money in the Bank match with Tamina was better than it had any right to be, at my estimation. I will give Tamina her share of the credit. You know, it takes 2 to tango. But I feel like Bayley is such a great heel and is like that. She really just comes off and exudes that ring general aura to me. Mm-hmm. And then her match with Charlotte most recently. And, you know, we can't stand Charlotte. It's kind of a meme here on this podcast. But I enjoyed the match. I was into it. Even thinking that Charlotte, you know, could have won, I don't think would have diminished my enjoyment of it that much, just because Bayley really excelled in her. And I even said to you, and I'm so glad I remember this, and this is one reason why I wanted to go first, and I thank you for letting me go first. I remember telling you when that match was happening, I'm like, dude, Bayley's the new Kevin Owens to me. Because, like, I love her trash talk in the ring the same way when Kevin Owens used to be the headlock master and talk trash during the headlocks. I used to fucking love how much shit Kevin Owens would talk. Same way with Mark Henry, right? We loved his shit talk, too. Yep. And Bayley, I think, is that new heel where, like, her shit talk, whether it's to Cole or to the opponent.
Cole, yeah, I was going to say, she's great with Cole.
It's fucking gold. I think Bayley, you know, Chris Jericho said it about himself with his work in 2008, and I would agree with him. He said in 2008, there were nights where I knew, like, I was the best in the world. Like, nothing that anybody else was doing could touch me and how I was feeling. I think Bayley right now, oddly enough, as a heel, when I thought she'd be like this Ricky the Dragon Steamboat babyface, never even taste healed him. But as a heel, she's in that rhythm where night after night, I have to question, and this is coming from a guy too, keep in mind, guys, I watch Stardom. And, like, you know, I watch AEW shows, obviously, because we cover that on the podcast, so I won't claim that I know everything about AEW's women's division, but, you know, I do hear that it's not entirely in order yet. Maybe it will now that Sheet is champion. But I feel like when you look at where women's wrestling is most, like, alive in the big companies, even taking all that into account, I don't know if people are having the kind of role that Bayley's on right now.
Yeah.
And I will also say, too, to be fair, that could also be due because WWE is still running shows. It's hard for any other woman to get on a roll when they're not doing shows. But the only woman, honestly, dude, looking at Bayley's work right now, the only woman that I feel like would have been competition to her for me, if she was still competing, and unfortunately we know she won't be, would have been Arisa. Because Arisa was so fucking good. She was untouchable. I would have said when Arisa was active, she was one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I still think she goes out as one of the best wrestlers in the world. But Bayley right now, still being active and being healthy, I think she's in such a pocket right now, dude. Like, I don't think anybody can touch her right now. And again, that's even knowing people like Kyrie and Io exist too. And I'm sorry. Like, Bayley's just on another level right now. So, what do you think, though? How much do you agree with me? How much do you disagree with me? Where are you at with Bayley right now?
Yeah, dude, she's definitely got something special going on right now. And that, dude, this is the hardest part for me, is to say that it's, even if we exclude Sasha from the situation, from the sort of equation, if we Sasha from I still think that Bayley has got something seriously special going on right now. I think that she is on another level. I also think Sasha's on another level, and I think that she adds to Bayley's act, but I also just want Sasha to do her own freaking thing. You know, like, I'm a huge Sasha Banks fan, and I feel like I was a Sasha Banks fan before a lot of people that call themselves Sasha Banks fans today even knew who the hell she was. Like, you can attest to me on that. Like, I was saying, damn, this Sasha Banks girl, she's pretty good, before she even turned heel in NXT. And then after she turned heel, I was full-blown fan, like, holy shit, this woman's amazing kind of thing. So I am a huge Sasha Banks fan, but if we just go by what we're getting and presented to us right now on TV, Sasha is amazing and on her own level in a completely different way, but so is Bayley on a completely different level in her own way. Like they're both these next level performers, and I don't think that they need each other in order to be this good. I think that they would be better off separated. But I also think that part of what's making Sasha so great right now is the way that she's interacting with Bayley.
I agree. Yeah, I'm enjoying the dynamic between the two of them. I really can't wait for Sasha to stand up for herself and like kind of be like, just let me talk or just something to that effect. So I'm loving what they're doing.
It wouldn't surprise me if that happened tomorrow night, man.
Yeah, but I agree with you though, brother. Like even if you took Sasha out of the equation, I feel like Bayley on her own merits has just been so good. Like it's actually insane that I'm saying this about Bayley because I feel like it wasn't that long ago where I was of the type where I'm like, yeah, Bayley's good, but it's not really like doing anything for me. I feel like, something's, just being like something's missing or I don't like her direction. And now I think she's one of my favorite acts in the company. Just when I really kind of thought about like where she is with me, I wouldn't be surprised if she ranked very highly in like our next installment of 5v5 because it's just, dude, she's killing it, man. I hope it continues to last. And you know what I worry about though, dude? And I will just say this because I was going to say this in our catch-up commentary anyway. So I thank Mark for giving us the opportunity to do this because now I feel whole again. I hope it can last even when she drops the title. Like, that's what I worry about. I hope she doesn't lose that steam when she's no longer champion because I feel like she is the type of character where you don't necessarily need the title to have compelling stories. So I just hope they keep it up even after her championship reign, whenever that is. So that's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah. All right. Fifth and final question from Mark. If you had one of those save point devices that Rick made for Morty in the Vat of Acid episode, what are a few things you would do with it?
Considering the ramifications of the device, do I really care about me's and other probable realities? Probably not.
See, the way I look at it though is I don't really care about the other me's, but I do care about the other me's families that would be just devastated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's some traumatic shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, God, I would probably only use it in emergency situations, knowing what I know. But given that in the show Morty didn't know what it was up until the end, I'm going to have to assume the same ignorance as Morty. In which case, anytime I worked up the courage to ask somebody out, or anytime I made the mistake of asking somebody out, I've had a lot of rough relationships, folks. I would just save point, be like, "Well, this relationship sucked ass. Let's go back," and be like, "No, don't send it. Delete. Turn around." So if I was operating in the same ignorance as Morty. Another thing I would probably do is I would probably save before like I buy a book, read that book, and if I liked it, just keep it, and if I didn't like it, just press it again and then just make another purchase. So my book buying would be improved. My relationships, I'd probably exercise more caution, more discretion, if you will. And would I do it for any mindless shit? I think if I had like a really like delicious food or a really good drink that was like spicy, or rare occasions where I indulge in sweets, I might save like before I eat it. This way I could just experience the sensation over and over again. So that'd probably be a mindless thing I'd do it for. And you know what? He only said a couple of things, and I think that qualifies as a couple of things. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Asher. What would you use it for?
Boy, you know, John, I kind of feel like life isn't worth living if you don't have sacrifices, you know?
Yeah, that's a really deep thought there, Morty, but there were sacrifices.
You just gotta have consequences, otherwise nothing means anything, you know?
Yeah, that's really profound, Morty, except no, there were consequences. I love the way Rick delivered that. Just shit all over that life lesson. Pants down by the ankles and everything. Oh,
no, but truthfully, though, you know, I don't know if I would even bother using one, honestly, because I just feel like I don't really feel like I do anything that is so consequential that I would feel that much regret that I would want to restart it. You know what I mean?
So even operating under the same ignorance as Morty, you would look at this device and be like, "The prestige is for marks," and just like throw it out. Be like, "Nah,
prestige.
I'm just gonna own life with
what
this."
prestige?
Because remember, Rick said it's the prestige, Morty, based on that film from like the Rick Explain episode of New Rockstars. Remember, it came from that Christopher Nolan and the other guy. What's the other guy's name? But yeah, where it's like it was just like clones of himself, I guess, dying from the magic trick because he wanted to be a better magician than the other guy. So
no,
Rick
dude,
said,
it
like,
wasn't clones of himself. It was just randomly some innocent dude that they just found off the streets.
But I thought it was people that looked like him, though, and that was the trauma.
They might have looked vaguely like him, but they were obviously still, you know, just innocent people that they found. They weren't literally clones of himself.
I thought it was more sci-fi than that. But anyway, regardless, so you're just like, no, I wouldn't use it. So that's interesting.
It's just like I said, man, I just don't feel like I do anything that is consequential enough to require a reset like that, you know?
Right. Yeah, I can understand that.
I mean, granted, if you would have asked me the same question when I was like 12, I would have jumped all over that shit for sure.
Yeah.
But at this point, I don't know. I just feel like I just wouldn't have a use for it.
Fair enough. All right, next set of questions.
We've got two from Racist Fan Rocks. First up, what do you think of the George Floyd thing?
Fuck the police. Fuck white supremacy. And
wait. You are already doing his second question, which is John rant on those 4 cops.
Well, then let me just say this, stepping back. It just really saddens me that this keeps happening. It saddens me that this has almost become cyclical, both in what happens and the collective response to what happens and everything else. And the one thing I really hate, and I don't mean this to be a rant on the cops, I look at this as a distinct thing. I hate that even if these people, the George Floyds, God, I can't even remember all the fucking names if I'm honest, but any black person or any non-white person in general would do something, I still believe that everybody, I mean, I'm already against the carceral state, but that's a separate matter, but everybody deserves their day in court. I don't care if the fucking black person like picked people off, right, with like an AK or some shit. White people do that shit all the fucking time. They've all gotten their day in court. So I don't want to hear about, oh, but they stole this, or oh, they were this with a police officer. I've seen videos of like white people drunk, like slapping police officers, and they still get to go home alive. So like, yeah, I just think it's a bunch of bullshit. Whatever the crime is, give them their day in fucking court, because you do it for every domestic white terrorist in this country. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. So that's all I'm going to say about it until the next question, which I know is just for me. But Ashton, do you have anything you want to add?
I don't think so. No, I'm just kind of with what you said. Fuck the police, right? Like that's
yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, I feel like you need to be a certain quality of person to be able to handle the responsibility of being a policeman, and I really genuinely think that they need to do a little bit better of a job at being selective at who they pick to actually do that job, because very, very clearly, the actual quality of person on the U.S. police force, on the average U.S. police force, isn't what it fucking should be.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. Of course, next question was for me, right on those 4 cops.
Yeah.
God, I enjoyed my Zen while it lasted, but this is the one thing that I think is still worth getting angry about. And it's not just the 4 cops, too, because I'm actually going to give you more bang for your buck here, Racist Fan Rocks. I also want to rant about the conservative response, because who do I see trending today but Tommy fucking Lahren, who was like, I don't understand.
Oh, you said her name weird. Tommy Lahren.
I really, she doesn't deserve to have me pronounce her name right, so I don't give a fuck. She's just like, oh, I don't understand. What does looting accomplish? What does this violence accomplish? Well, since you asked, and since every conservative fucking white prick that never once speaks out against, like, the actual officers doing the killing, but only the people, because, blue lives matter, guys. Let's actually take a look at one perspective that I loved here. This tweet comes from somebody, and they say, in ordinary times, people do not rob, target, en masse because they simply choose not to. Mass looting in response to police brutality shows that police are largely powerless to stop crime, which shows that aggressive policing is not actually what keeps the streets safe. And I never thought about it from that perspective, but yeah, it's amazing how powerless your fucking militarized apparatus, because the funny thing is, the police today, they do have military-grade gear and weaponry and stuff like that with all the fun. I think even, like, Last Week Tonight has done spotlights on this. And it's funny how that really doesn't fucking do anything. And it's funny, too, how I feel like there's psychological research out when you talk about, like, a certain quality and a certain temperament and capability to be a police officer, that when police see black people, and I think more notably black men, I guess their sense of fear is, like, heightened. They see the black man not as a human being, but as an animal. And, like, that's, like, a racialized fucking thing that we need to, like, condition out. When we talk about unlearning internalized racism, that's the fucking shit we're talking about. Yep. So, yeah, I just wanted to say to the collective response of, but don't, Luke, and I'm going to say this again, because I say this on my philosophy Twitter all the fucking time. And I don't give a fuck who has a problem with it. Because, again, this is the one time where I will let my Zen go and go back to the old John that I really don't like that much anymore. Stop morally fucking policing black people. Okay? Because it's not your fucking icons getting shot and killed like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. It's not your fucking peers, your brothers, sisters, husband, wife, daughter, getting like killed randomly for broken taillights, for selling cigarettes, for trying to go into their fucking house, for being allegedly in the wrong house, or at least the cop mistakes it for the wrong fucking house. This shit doesn't fucking happen to you. So stop telling black people what the fuck to do to solve the problems in their fucking communities and being human being. For Christ's sake, with Ahmaud Arbery, which we're going to talk about him too, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing that name wrong. That is one place where I'll be sad about mispronunciation, not fucking Laren's fucking ass, whatever the fuck. Where it's like, I can't even go for a jog. Like I read an op-ed by a philosopher I've had the privilege of talking to a few times. Really great guy. His name's George. And he wrote about Ahmaud. And he said, like, he was walking with a white friend, and the white friend was like, oh, let's go for a jog. And it's like, he wanted to, and he holds no ill will against her, but it's just that embodied privilege, the embodied privilege of whiteness, of being in that kind of community, because he lives in Georgia. And he was talking about the history of lynching that Georgia has. And that's the thing. You want to morally police black people about how to fight for justice, how to do this and that, which, again, you have no fucking right to do. Take your opinions and shove them up your ass. But it's also like white supremacy never ended. The KKK, both literally and metaphorically, never really ended. They just evolved. Somebody once said something to me, and it really gave me a lot of thought, because, when we're kids and we learn about Martin Luther King and all this stuff, they instill in us this idea, and it's such a crock of shit. And I hope that I'm not offending either Alex Foster or Javaris, because I love them both deeply, and I want to respect their experiences. I'm just, saying it how I see it. They make it seem like peace and brotherhood, we just gotta all hold hands together and sing Ain't No Mountain High Enough in fucking whatever key. But that's not fucking it. The funny thing is, when Martin Luther King made his I Have a Dream speech, and they got civil rights passed, all those angry white people, they didn't just disappear into the ether. You know what I mean? They didn't just, the fucking rapture, come and weren't chosen and, left to be damned. They grew up. They went to go on to be politicians, police officers, people in positions of power to terrorize fucking black people, which is still going on today. And so these fucking people that are like, rioting and looting won't get your message heard, when even Martin Luther King, the same guy that fucking white conservatives love to appropriate, right? But they never talk about how he was anti-Vietnam and anti-capitalism. Martin Luther King said, a riot is the language of the unheard. So I don't know. If you don't like the fucking riots happening, maybe clean your fucking ears out and hear what they fucking want. Now on to the four pigs that the original question was all fucking about. Are we really fucking surprised? Like here's the thing, guys. I get it, okay? I get that I'm an asshole and I sound like a crazy, frothing fucking person with my leftist fucking rants. But as a leftist, and as owning my fucking politics, I'm staunchly anti-police. They don't do anything. They make matters worse. Call police for a mental health crisis. Your friend that was suicidal is dead anyway. Well, I guess that problem's solved. Call police on a black person, which, by the way, we're seeing more white people do because they know it fucking works. Don't act like you don't know what you're
Did you see that video of that woman in the park?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, dude, absolutely. And it's manipulative, and it's deliberate. I even heard that she, changed her voice to make it seem like she was more afraid or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like,
dude, absolutely. She literally, when she was still not on the phone yet, she literally told the dude, I'm going to call the police and tell them that an African-American man is threatening me. She literally said that to his face, and then she called them, and it was, yes, please, African-American man is threatening me and my dog. It was very, frantic, and she sounded hysterical, and, yeah. She very clearly was trying to get this dude in all kinds of trouble with the law because he literally just asked her to leash her dog, basically, because she was in a part of Central Park where you're supposed to have your dog on a leash because otherwise they can trample some kind of valuable shrubs or flowers or something like that. I don't know.
See, dude, see. This is why I've taken off the internet, because this is what it gets me wound up, as you can clearly see. Because then I see all the people that are like, oh, come on, guys, she's already lost her job and her dog. What more do you want? Well, maybe, just maybe, she should have thought about that before she deliberately set in motion an attempt to take this man's life. because she knew what she was fucking doing. When you say it to his face, and then you do it in front of his face on the phone with your performative fucking tears and everything else, maybe you deserve to have reality smack you in the fucking face. I don't give a fuck. And see, it's really sad, guys, because I want you to know, genuinely, you can believe it or you cannot believe it. I've been doing the work while I've been gone. I've been thinking about a lot of the things that I believed. Who's beyond redemption and who isn't? How can we help people that are wayward and lost? I think Avatar also kind of rubbed off on me. We saw, Zuko's Arc. Great fucking show again. Just a quick side note there. Fucking young white people that join fucking alt-right groups or join incel forums. How can we help them? How can we steer them on the right path? And I still think about those things. But you can't tell me that somebody can look at somebody, tell them exactly what they're going to do, knowing the culture of this country and buying into the culture of this country through their actions. And then you want me to feel sorry for them because of what they lost? Think about what the other person could have lost, which again, I don't even know what 4 cops races we've been talking about, but this isn't even about 4 distinct cops. This is about policing in general. Like, this is why fucking Mayor Bloomberg, why we were all so horrified about him, because he supported a policy like stop and frisk. And it's like, oh, you go where the crime is. And then the people that think they're intellectual and thoughtful in discussions and be like, well, I hear what you're saying, but answer me this, good sir. What about black on black crime? Oh my God, you fucking cringe lord. Jesus Christ. Fuck me. And, I saw an image. I couldn't even name to you every, fucking white domestic terrorist on here. I recognize some, like Dylan Roof, and I forget who the Colorado movie theater killer was, but it was going through. One guy murdered 12, another guy murdered 17, Dylan Ruth murdered 9, another one murdered 23, and all the pictures are them in a courtroom saying their day in court, like I think everybody fucking should. And then you see Tamir Rice, another one broken taillight, another one was a traffic stop, another one riding bar train. Like, if you don't see the discrepancy here, if you don't see the disparity here, you're part of the problem. And there's a difference between being part of the problem passively and actively. I would say people, for just mere ignorance, it's a passive thing, and that could be corrected. But people like that bitch that made the phone call, that's actively participating in the problem to your own benefit, and you can fuck all the way off. I am fucking tired. And I think the reason I get so angry, maybe I wouldn't, but then I have friends like Alex Foster, who are beautiful fucking people. I have friends like Javaris, who are pained like this. I have leftist comrades that are black and are scared because they say police presence has scaled up in my streets. I'm going to try and stay alive tonight. I have people that I love their work and I regard as colleagues in my field of philosophy writing about, I worry for my son because I know my son's already dead. I can't think about a future for my son because when he grows up, he's already dead. And, maybe it just gets to me a little fucking bit. So I don't want to hear the conservative fucking talking points. I don't want to hear about the moral policing of, oh, but don't loot the store. Fuck your fucking private property. Fuck your private property. Fuck capitalism. Fuck the police. Let's fuck shit up because you know what? MLK was right. Not that white conservatives would care. They fucking killed him. The most laughable fucking thing about that, by the way, was when Martin Luther King Day happened a little while ago, and the fucking FBI put out a tweet. Like, fucking, wow. The irony just isn't lost on you, is it? A riot is the language of the unheard. So until you clean your fucking ears out, it's going to keep happening. And you know what? I'm all fucking for it. And also, one more thing about that, it's not just fucking riots. Because the media will play that up, obviously, because negativity sells. I saw a video of people, white and black, just standing socially distancing, which I thought was very commendable on their part, holding the black power fist up in silence, just en masse. Just saying, like, we're with you. We're with George Floyd. We're with everybody. So I'm not saying, of course, everybody should go riot. Anybody that wants to assume the risk, I'm with you. Anybody that wants to assume just standard protesting, I'm with you. Anybody that wants to write about it, I'm with you. Any act of resistance that you're comfortable with, do it. Even me doing this helps me feel better because it's like I'm making explicitly known for anybody that wants to see this. Fuck the police. Fuck the fucking pigs. They're no fucking good. None of them. I don't even want to hear about fucking good cops because even the fucking good ones are a part of a structure that imposes violence and inequality on the fucking streets. That's what you're upholding. Even when you're a good, and you do it by the book, you're still justifying and legitimizing a system that does this shit. So fuck all of it. Throw the whole goddamn thing away. And however we get that done, by any means fucking necessary. That's what I always come back to. So that's my rant. And yeah, we can move on to our next question. Fucking hell, fucking people.
I think a lot of people needed to hear that, man. I think a lot
Because I've been zen lately. You know it. But, like, this shit, dude. Like, I guess it reminds me that I'm still human. Because, like, I can be calm about so much. But then I see those fucking takes where it's like they care more about the private property than the fucking man that died. And it's like, and this is the same. But you know what, though? It's not even exclusively a race thing because you're even seeing it in the pandemic. Like, people care more about the market than people that they could be sending to go die to go back to work. Like, this is the culture that we're in now. And it's fucking sick. Like, it's really fucking sick. I know we know it. But what horrifies me is that the people in charge of our lives, well, either they don't know it or they don't care, and either one is both fucking bad. So, what the fuck?
Yeah. Dude, I don't want you to feel like you getting fired up and passionate about something is somehow a form of weakness. It really isn't.
No, I know that, dude. I know. It's fucking tiring because it's like, how long is this going to keep happening for? Like how many is it going to fucking take? And then again, I don't
think that any of us really want to know the answer to that question because I don't think that it's an answer that any of us was actually.
It's not an optimistic answer, that's for sure. But no, I know it's not a sign of weakness.
Because that's the thing, dude, is like, as somebody who was literally raised on, trying not to see color, treat everybody equally regardless of skin color, stuff like that. I never realized that was almost like a borderline, like, internalized racism kind of thing. Like, it never even struck me that way until just a few years ago. So, and I think that it's going to take, I would say it's going to take at least 2 more generations at minimum for the sort of indoctrination of those values to at least decrease, if not go away, because I don't think it's going to completely go away ever.
Right. Yeah.
Decrease, and then it'll probably take another generation or more, maybe 2 or more even after that, for it to kind of, and again, like, I can't emphasize enough that, like, these are issues that people have known about for, I mean, fuck, shit, man. When MLK's I Have a Dream speech, that was in, the 60s, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
So, like, we're talking over 60 years at this point, or at least close to 60 years, because it wouldn't be 60 years yet if it happened in the 60s. So over 50 years at least at this point, that this shit has been known. And, like, the actual problem is that the people who are in power, the people who are in power haven't really changed. Like, it's one of those things where we're 50 plus years removed from MLK's speech, and sure, we had a black president, but he also made literally no effort to actually help his fellow black citizens. And literally the first president after him was a fucking white supremacist. So how much progress have we really made?
And dude, I can't even blame you for the whole, like, color blindness thing, because again, that's how our educational system molds us as well. They do this whitewash version of MLK to put in the syllabus, and that's really what they say that MLK believed. It's like, oh, we should all be colorblind, but his message is so much more radical than that, because again, it's anti-capitalist.
Well, and that actually brings me back to something that I remember hearing Sam Cedar say on the Majority Report. This is probably months, maybe even years ago. People, and I admit, I fell into this category for a really long time before I kind of started to read and hear some things that kind of made me realize how wrong that was. People who try and tell you, stop making everything about race, stop trying to say race this, race that, race politics is bad, all that stuff. The people are against that discussion taking place are most likely the people who are privileged because of, the inherent privileges granted by the society in the first place. Like, it's
absolutely,
in a way, I think the way Sam Cedar said it was, if somebody's telling you not to look at the scoreboard, it's probably because they're ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, when you see people, because I see this every time, and I think that's what frustrates me now that I've gotten the initial, like, anger out of my system.
Yeah.
Especially, like, the conservative pundits and stuff, you'll see every time it goes from the injustice in and of itself, which is why was a police officer or officers, if it's like a group, using excessive force, using these particular tactics when they were like wholly unnecessary, to why is property being damaged and this and that. And they're not like understanding that like this is a community that they never have to worry about like the hardships of. They never have to like have that particular lived experience. And that's why I say like we shouldn't be morally policing these people, because, you know, again, this is something they've been dealing with for decades. And if you want to go back even further, like centuries, because, you know, we think slavery and Jim Crow and like all that, it's just like, it's been a continuous thing for them. And it's like, if I'm feeling the fatigue as a white person that has just non-white friends that he loves deeply and cares about, imagine what that actual fucking community is feeling. So I just get really tired of just seeing the same talk, like over and over on like a hamster wheel. And, you know, we'll see. But let's move on to happier topics, man. What's our next question?
Our next, well, I don't know how much happier this is going to be, but our next set of questions are from Abel. First of which is, would you rather see The Undertaker versus The Fiend in a Boneyard match or a Firefly Funhouse match? How funny is that I said earlier I want to combine those two matches into one, and now we're getting this question.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I'm always going to go with Funhouse match.
Yeah,
because I love how that was
because
done.
like I think I love the Boneyard match, so it's not anything against that, but I think the Boneyard match lends itself more to the American Badass side of the Undertaker. But if we're getting Undertaker versus Fiend, I want more like Phenom Undertaker and like Deadman Undertaker than American Badass, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely with that. Yeah.
So
I think there's a lot of possibility in that type of matchup. But next question.
Next question from Abel is, what wrestler from either AEW or New Japan right now has the best chance to become a WWE World Champion in the future?
You know what's funny? I'm actually going to say Sonata. Because I feel like Okada was my go-to for a minute, but I don't know if Okada could make that transition the way Sonata could. I have more faith in Sonata to do it. So I'm going to say Sonata and just do New Japan.
See, low-key, I think that this is actually a lot easier than that. I just think Will Ospreay.
That's true. Yeah, because he bulked the fuck up. He has a great look now.
Yeah, he's bulked up. He's like 6'2". He's got the height that Vince looks for. He still moves like a just ridiculous son of a bitch. He's got charisma. He can talk. You know, and I think the more important thing here is that he speaks completely, obviously, fluent English without any kind of like, you know, hard to understand accent. He's just like that British accent. Which I think would be Sonata's biggest obstacle, which is what would probably prevent him from... Because, like, dude, Nakamura still hasn't won a world title.
Yeah.
Like, if Nakamura can't do it, I'm not betting on any other Japanese dudes at all.
That is a fair point. And I think for Ospreay, too, guys like Bryan already laid the groundwork. So I feel like guys like Ospreay are kind of set because of the precedent that's been established elsewhere.
I'm curious why you said Bryan specifically.
Well, just because, you know, like, Will used to be a smaller guy, and now he's bulked up, and Bryan's still, like, that smaller guy, but even so, like, I think he kind of changed perceptions, and he's charismatic. I think Will's got his own understated charisma, so I just feel like guys like Bryan really opened the path for guys like Ospreay, and him, again, bulking up did not hurt matters at all.
I don't know. Yeah, I was going to say, because, like, Bryan, I think Bryan's biggest obstacle was always going to be his height, because he's, like, 5'8", you know? Like, really small guy. So I think that was like, but Will doesn't have that problem. Will is 6'1", maybe 6'2" even. Will is literally the same height as like Cena and Moxley and, you know, Rollins and even like Triple H.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So Will doesn't have the height problem whatsoever. His biggest problem was always that he was a string bean. So now that he bulked up, that's really like this dude is going to be like, I genuinely love that Will Ospreay is so dedicated to New Japan that he's moved to Japan. He's living there. He's like a full-time resident and stuff like that. But at the same time, every time we hear about somebody living in Japan for a long period of time, the one thing that you always hear from them afterwards is, you know, it's nice, but I never really felt like I was a part of the people.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
So I think that that's going to eventually get to Will to the point that he is going to want to move out of Japan again. And I think that Vince is going to be welcoming him with open arms, being like, "You son of a bitch, I've been waiting." That's going to be like another AJ Styles. I think he's going to be that big of a deal for Vince that it's going to be like another AJ Styles. Maybe he won't skip NXT like AJ did, but I think it's going to be another one of the situations where he'll sign him and he'll have him on his roster. And maybe if he does go to NXT, it'll take him being on the main roster for a year or two, and then reports will start to come out like Vince loves this guy and wishes he would have signed him sooner. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I actually really like your thought process on that, so that's good stuff.
Oh, you know what, though? I also do really like Kirby Freeman's suggestion of being Jay White, but I also think that New Japan has earned more loyalty from Jay White since he literally trained with them in their dojo. Like, he learned to wrestle from them. Whereas Ospreay was already kind of a bigger deal before going to New Japan. So he's kind of more of a self-made, like, if he's loyal to anywhere, it's Progress, and he's barely even in Progress anymore. So, like, yeah, I would, or not Progress, Rev Pro, I think, is where he got his start, wasn't it? But regardless, like, if he's loyal to any particular country, it's the UK, and he's already left there. He literally moved out of that country entirely to go to Japan. So I think that the biggest obstacle from, in my mind, to Jay White becoming a big star in WWE is his ingrained loyalty to New Japan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I'm sure Will does have, but I don't think that Will is, in the long run, going to stay as loyal to New Japan for as long as Jay White will.
Right, yeah. All right. Was that all the questions Abel had, and we move on to Foster's questions? Because it was just Abel and Foster left, right? Or do we have more questions from Abel?
No, we have 3 questions left from Abel, and they're all on the more serious side, so.
Okay, let's do it.
Third question from Abel is, what are your overall thoughts on the whole Alexa Bliss JD from New York situation on Twitter this past week?
Oh, we actually talked about this a little bit, you and I. Here's the thing. I don't like JD personally. I think he's a bit much for my taste. And I think while what he said about Alexa Bliss and stuff was obviously distasteful, I think, again, you also know, this being Alexa Bliss, Braun, and everybody else that responded, you know what you're doing when you kind of spotlight this dude with your disproportionately much larger fan base, and that you can't control everybody in that fan base. So him getting doxxed, I think, was way over the line, because it wasn't just him. It got, like, his parents involved, which
I was going to say, he was also getting death threats, apparently, on Instagram.
Yeah, and that's not cool. But, more than anything, and again, maybe this is, like, my privilege, right? Because I found a way to, like, insulate myself from this world for so many hours at a time, which has done wonders for my mental health. I just feel like unplug. Like, JD shouldn't have even said it. It was ridiculous. But then, like, you're the performer. You're the bigger celebrity that, like, you want to promote a certain message.
Yep. Alexa Bliss punched down.
And that's just it. That's the fucking soundbite, Ashton. Alexa Bliss punched down, and she had no need to. And I'm not even saying logging off is...
The really unfortunate thing in this whole situation is I think that this is really just a matter of a lot of insecure people being insecure in public. Like, we've talked before, JD is an incredibly insecure person. Like, this dude constantly feels the need to validate himself and his accomplishments on his streams. Anytime somebody challenges him, he'll always go on this tirade about all this great shit that he's done and all of his subscriber and, like, even his fans. It's gotten to the point that JD from New York's fans, whenever you challenge him in public, will be like, oh, I'm not JD, I'm just one of his however many thousand fans or whatever. Like, it's pure insecurity on his part. This dude is incredibly insecure, and it shows in public quite often.
Yeah.
And I think that Alexa's response was also coming from a place of deep insecurity, where I think that she felt attacked about something that she might be insecure about. I think that, I don't think that, and no, I'm not talking about the sex thing, by the way, just to be clear. I think that was the part that JD went way too fucking far on. I think that was gross, like downright straight up disgusting to even talk about some woman that you don't know just laying there and like, that was, not only was it gross, it was borderline rapey, straight up. But him basically talking about Alexa Bliss not taking bumps and not working a wrestling match, and like, oh, she's in a tag team now, so she only has to work half a match and she can get protected and stuff. I think that Alexa felt attacked by that. I think that she felt that there might have been some insecurities in herself based on that, and maybe it even is based a lot in the fact that she has these injuries that she's had to deal with, and maybe that triggered something in her that made her feel like she had to just address it, and maybe she didn't realize how much power she wields on social media with all the clout that she has, but she sure as hell does, and this is what happened. So I think that they were both very much in the wrong. I think that JD was more in the wrong for being the person that initiated in the first place. But at the same time, we've also got to acknowledge the fact that this is apparently something that JD said months ago, and some asshole on Twitter that is just like obsessed with trying to take JD from New York down posted it and pinged Alexa. Like, first of all, JD shouldn't have said it in the first place. Second of all, don't ping wrestlers with shit like that. And third of all, I think that Bliss shouldn't have quote tweeted JD at all. Like, all three parties in that case, and then add the fourth party being Alexa's fan base going after JD and fucking Bliss stands threatening his life and doxing him and shit like that. Everybody involved in this situation was in the wrong for some reason or another.
I think you articulated it perfectly. I'm going to move on to the next question. Yeah. That's
fourth question from Abel. What are your thoughts on nihilism?
I
get it.
I don't even. Beg pardon.
I said I get it, man.
I get it too, but I feel like it's not really tenable because we're always going to ascribe meaning to things just innately. I feel like I always feel like we can never like be perpetually in a nihilistic state because otherwise, why strive towards anything?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but you know what though? I don't know. There's something freeing about nihilism, or at least it seems to me like there would be something freeing about nihilism. Like, there's something about accepting that nothing matters that empowers you. You know what I mean?
I definitely feel that because in my time away, I've even just been thinking like, you know, and this both has its positives and its negatives. I think, well, you know, people die all the time. And I know we try and create great works of art or social movements or whatever, but when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, like those things are ephemeral too, because everybody's always waiting for like the next great song or the next great piece of art. Social justice can be overturned. You know, I just as I thought, like democracy could become tyranny, tyranny could become democracy. You know, stuff like that.
Yep.
So if everything is like ephemeral, I agree with you though about the empowerment because then what that tells me is well, my freedom and the consequences of that freedom is only going to reverberate outward, which is to say, like, outside of me for so long before the reverberations stop. So, like, why not just live my best life? So long as, again, I'm not, like, a sociopath or, like, a serial killer or something.
Yeah.
Why not just live? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Cause what's
that's
really
what I'm saying,
matter?
Though, dude, because I've been thinking a lot lately about, like, what would I do with my life if there was literally no such thing as money? Like, if all of my needs were provided for me, if all of the necessities, like house over my head, food in my stomach, all the necessary amenities were taken care of for me and I didn't have to do shit for them. Healthcare was already, like, everything. If I didn't have needs, if I didn't feel like I had to find a way to make money at some point somehow, what would I do? And I just don't have a fucking answer for that question at all. Like, even the spreadsheet stuff that you know I do for football, I do that with an end game in mind of, oh, maybe one day I'll be able to start a website and sell the information to people that would find it useful. Well, what the hell is the use to selling information when you don't need money?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I think for me, you know, if we didn't have to worry about, again, the structural inequities inherent in capitalism and we were just living like in a fundamentally better way collectively, I'd probably be doing the same thing I do now, you know, because I really do love the scholar life and reading and writing. And I don't even really get paid for like 90% of my writings anyway.
Yeah.
But I think
you found your passion, man. That's so.
Yeah.
I can't even describe the amount of envy that I feel towards people that find their thing that they just love just because they love it and there's no sort of ulterior motive behind doing it, because I don't have that at all.
Yeah, but I think, though, more people would be free to discover it if they weren't always worried about, well, gotta pay the bills or gotta pay this debt or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And I will say, too, like, God knows, if I didn't have to worry about money and we had open borders, dude, I probably would get a travel bug. That's probably one of the reasons why I don't have the travel bug like some of my other friends do, because it's like, one, it burns a hole in your pocket so quick, and two, I don't want to constantly have to go through border checks and like all that different shit. Like,
but yeah, that's what I'm saying though, is like, if it didn't burn a hole in your pocket, like if you didn't have to worry about, oh, I can't afford this because in, you know, this sort of utopian world, there would be no worrying about that. And I mean, we're already in a utopia, so let's just say no borders as well. I do think that travel would be a high rate. Like, I genuinely think that if money was not an issue, and if, like you said, if I didn't have to worry, and even if I did have to worry about going through customs and shit like that, but it didn't involve me having to pay money that doesn't exist, I really think I would just resort to traveling almost every day. I think I would literally just live out of like a fucking RV. Like I would buy an RV, I would live out of it, I would travel across the nation, and maybe even at some point I would get like one of those gigantic ass ships that can bring vehicles with you on them over, across the Atlantic, start in Europe and make my way across Europe and across Asia and maybe even down into Africa. I don't know. Maybe even find a way to get to Australia. Like I think that I really would just like travel the world and be done with. Like that would just be my life, is just traveling the world and experiencing different cultures, because like what else is there to do if money isn't an object?
And brother, can I just, to bring it full circle, because the question was about nihilism, like, we live in a world where a lot of these problems, like borders and stuff, it's because those in power imbue illusory things with meaning. So I'll give you an example to use borders. It's because we have this idea that the nation state has value. That's where we get patriotism from, and at times nationalism, right? As far as like money goes, it's because the free market matters and capitalism matters and consuming matters, you know? So like, I feel like when we give these things meaning, it leads to a deleterious society that inhibits us from doing what we really want to do. But conversely, if we say that nothing matters, because I know oddly enough, it does come from the more quote unquote conservative intellectuals that are like, oh, but this nihilism of leftism or liberalism, if nothing matters, then, whatever. But I take it, again, to go back to what we were saying, if nothing matters, and we're not predicating certain values on certain things, again, like patriotism, I think is one reason why we legitimize war so often. Oh, we got to do it for love of country. But if nothing matters and we're all just free to like live how we want to live, I think we'd have a new cultural epoch. We'd have art that we've never seen before. We'd have
the Renaissance. We'd have a new Renaissance, baby.
We were talking about that actually like a week or two ago, about a new renaissance. People were taken care of. How do you take care of them? By just not giving anything any arbitrary meaning that could be detrimental to anybody else. Like, because when you give arbitrary meaning to borders, you're being detrimental to people that may want to migrate and have new experiences in a different country. When you give arbitrary meaning to money, you create poverty and homelessness and all this stuff. When you give arbitrary meaning to retribution, you have the carceral state. So maybe nihilism's actually the way to go. I don't know. I didn't expect us to go like there with it, but I'm
dude. Yeah, like it's so funny because the two things that have really gotten me like maybe nihilism really is the way to go were like I said, the thought process of like, if I didn't have to worry about money, what would I do, and not knowing the answer to that. But then also there's like this football thing where like, oh, running backs don't matter. Okay, well, apparently quarterbacks don't matter. Oh, well, wide receiver, like nothing matters. So just pick your favorites and nobody gives a shit.
And there you go. There you fucking go.
So, next up, we've got our final question from Abel. And I kind of feel like you already almost answered this earlier, but we'll still read it out loud and we'll see if we can come up with anything new. What can we do as a society to take a stand against police brutality?
Oh, well, that's more talking about praxis. Again, it's weird me answering this question as a white dude when police brutality doesn't disproportionately impact me, although I will say it does impact the disabled community. It's just those disabled people are, again, predominantly black. But I would say, I guess, as white people, bolster white organizations. If you know that there's like a black coalition against like police brutality, give that visibility, retweet it, promote its stuff. Join a coalition if they'll permit people. I don't know if they want to keep it like a safe space, for black and brown people. But if you can join one. If you want to write a stirring essay or poetry or whatever, art can be revolutionary. You can join a protest. And that one video I said that the media didn't cover with people socially distancing and holding up the Black Power symbol, I distinctly saw white people for like revolutionary violence, which maybe one day we'll really get to be able to get in the nooks and crannies of that. Like, praxis is a multitudinous thing. Like, I live by a gun range, and even though I advocate revolutionary violence, I fucking hate the gun range I live by. Like, I can't imagine firing a gun. I understand it's not for everybody. You can do art, you can do poetry, you can do community, just organizing with people, maybe, feeding the homeless or whatever. Because, again, it's all connected. Police brutality, poverty, the carceral, like, it's all interconnected. We need a holistic view of these problems. So any praxis to me is good. The point is you just got to venture out and try. You got to venture out and try. I know one thing that really helped me in the beginning was just following a lot of black and brown leftists and just listening, just taking in their tweets, like reflecting on it, whatever. Even education, I think, could be revolutionary if you're open to it. So just whatever you're comfortable with, honestly. Just as long as it's, forward-looking is my answer to that. Yeah.
I don't really have anything to add to that, and frankly, I wouldn't have thought of everything that you just thought of to begin with. So you are way ahead of me on this subject. So I'm just gonna kind of take my bow and let your answer be the answer. Next up, we've got 5, and this is our final set of questions. 5 from Alex Foster. First up, in kayfabe, how would you explain to your friends and family that you turned face/heel?
Oh God. I don't even know.
I think the thing that makes this difficult for me is that I don't intend on doing either one anytime soon. I'm tweener for life, bitches.
I mean, I've thought about it. Like, I'm constantly like, is today the day to turn heel? But I don't even know how I would explain it to my family. Like, John, why were you addicted to that person that you've always been nice to? Like, what do I say? Because it was time for a change? Like, that's just weird. Weirdo.
Yeah, I mean, it's vague, which is very heelish, so it would be fitting.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
such a WWE thing. Like, oh, I have answers. You're not getting any. Or I have questions. You're not getting any answers. Oh my God, he's such a heel. No, that's just bad writing, you fucks.
Yeah, that's true. It is. It absolutely is. Goddamn. Yeah, I don't know how I would do it. I guess I would just be like, fuck you, that's why. Or maybe I would even do it Randy Marsh, like, hey, fuck you, I do what I want. And then I just walk off. So yeah, that's probably how I do it, because I'm a douche.
Yeah,
I mean, that actually does seem my speed, because when you ask me why I do things, I don't ever really give you substantive answers. I don't really engage you meaningfully as a person when I act out.
I also feel like you're like the fucking Big Show. You go from face to heel in a matter of seconds.
I do. I am a complex individual. I appreciate you noticing. But yeah, I just feel like, lack of an answer, just do what I want. Maybe that's just how I would do it. They would have to accept the reality. I don't know, explain myself to anybody. Oh my God, Foster. I love Foster's answer. Attention, friends and family. I'm a heel now. Please tell me the sports teams you like so I can make fun of them. You are so fucking pure, even as a heel. I love you so much. Maybe you're a babyface for life, Foster. I can't buy you as a heel.
Second question, Foster. If you had to audition for Andrade and Zelina's faction, what would you say/do to convince them?
It's simple. I'm not Austin Theory. Done.
Ah! I feel like Andrade would hug you after you.
Hell yeah.
You'd be like, I'm not Austin Theory. And he'd be like, sí, amigo.
Yeah. I'd be like, you know what's up? But seriously, break up with Charlotte. Trade up. And then we'd all walk
out. Amazing.
Man, I'm not even looking at the questions anymore, so I swear to you, I wasn't even prepping for that. I'm just on the quickness now. I'm on that Ultra Instinct shit. Oh, man.
Oh, my God. That was amazing. I would probably try and, convince them. No, see, I don't know. I mean, I, at the very least, if nothing else, I could offer bodyguard services because I'm bigger than most of the guys in WWE. So I wouldn't be able to do much against, Drew and Braun, but pretty much everyone else, I'm good.
Yeah, no, that's how you sell.
I was thinking about I could offer strategic services, but then I feel like that would be almost demeaning Zelina because she's the brains of the operation. So I'm just you know what? What can I offer that this faction lacks? Size, baby.
Yes, I love it. And then we could be in the faction together, and then we can bully Austin Theory in our off time and win all the gold on our on time.
Yeah!
Yeah!
Right. I love it. All right, let's move on. Third question from Foster. If you guys switched bodies, how would you let people know who is who?
God, I would just be really, because you're a lot nicer than I am, so I would just be unrelentingly mean to people and be like, oh, okay, it's John, and then Ashton's the other guy. Because
I feel like you would be humping things a lot.
Maybe, because you know what the weird thing is? I mean, we gotta be real here, totally real. You're more ambulatory than I am, so I'd be like, holy shit, my legs are fully functional, and then I'd find the nearest conservative and I'd kick him in the balls. Yeah, oh my God, that'd be amazing. But you know what though? It'd be very easy to tell the difference because it would probably happen on the day of a pay-per-view, and we're watching a match, and you notice Ashton's getting more worked by the booking, whereas I'm trying to get worked by the match, and then they could just be like, oh, I see what's happening here. Ashton's now John, and John's now Ashton. Easy teleport right there. So it's perfect. It's perfect. Is the silence because of how right I was?
I suppose, yeah, I suppose.
I feel like, was it that you had a response and you're like, no, Ashton, you know how this goes? Or you just had a response and it was like,
I feel like it's more energy, because I'm 80% of the time, I'm very like chill and laid back and you're turned up, and I feel like people would be able to pick up on that relatively quickly.
That is true. That's actually a fair point. Even in my more zen state, if there's an act I really like, I still turn up, and I still want to get freaky with things. In fact, that's another thing too. That's another tell. Like, I'm probably gonna make sexually lewd comments within
That's
5
what I
minutes of the
meant,
commentary.
though. That's what I meant when I said you'd be humping everything. Is really it would just be you would just be really fucking horny all the time.
I would. And especially because you just mentioned that you'd be like the muscle of LIJ, I would then have the power to, exert all my fantasies consensually, of course. I'd be like, oh, well, I can ambulate now, so if you're down with that freaky scalp time, I'm open to it. So yeah, I do all the fucking thing. Yeah, no, let's do it. I'm down for a Freaky Friday situation, and I'm gonna put the freaky back in Freaky Friday, best believe. So next question.
You are freaky. Next question from Foster. What random/weird dreams have you had that ended up coming true?
Oh, coming true?
None.
That doesn't.
None.
Yeah.
Not a one. Never.
That doesn't happen for us, Foster.
The closest I've ever come to a dream coming true was me having such a lucid dream that I didn't realize it was a dream. So it's not the same thing.
I guess I did have this one dream once where people were laughing at me in my Spanish class because I said a word that, like, didn't exist. And then, like, there was an actual Spanish class I was in, and I thought the Spanish word for porch was porche, and everybody just turned around, looked at me, and they laughed. They wanted me to know, like, we're laughing at you. So maybe that was my start as a heel, honestly, thinking about that. God, I don't know. If I become any more of an angry white person, I might as well just write a manifesto. But yeah, I think that was really...
You guys will just start quoting crime statistics.
Oh my God. It's funny because that's all they have. But yeah, I think that was that genuinely happened. I had a dream once as a kid where, like, I was getting laughed at in a class, and then it happened in my Spanish class because I am somehow both the most white person, except I've kind of, like, tried to distance myself from my whiteness where it really matters in, like, social and political matters. I.e., what about black on black crime that we've joked about before already? So yeah, it's a weird thing, but yeah, that definitely happened with me when I was younger. So I guess that's a perfect answer to this.
Yeah, I've never had a dream that came true ever. I did have a dream last night that I was being chased by, like, foot-long hornets that were chasing me with their stingers, and one of them stung me in the hand, and I was brushing it off. I was like, okay, that hurt, but I'll be fine. It's just going to swell up. And then I, like, broke the hornet in half and threw it because it was dead then. But then another one came after me, and it stung me, and I must have been in some kind of, like, Hunger Games simulation or something. Like, something was being commentated because there was a commentator over the loudspeaker that was like, and that is the cancer-causing sting. And I was like, what the fuck?
I'm sorry. I swear to God, this isn't a laughter at your misfortune. Just the way you relayed that whole thing, where you're just reacting to your own demise. Like, what the fuck is happening up there?
That's what I was thinking in the dream, though. I was like, okay, the first thing, I was like, okay, that hurt. It's going to swell up, but I'll be fine. But the second one, it felt the same. It didn't feel any different. But that time, I heard the fucking announcer on the loudspeaker that it was cancer causing. I was like, what the hell? And I literally, that jarred me so much that it woke me up. I woke up because of how astonished I was in my own dream.
Your face is amazing, I swear. Next question.
But hopefully that's never going to come true, because hopefully there are never hornets that big that cause cancer. So, anyway.
I mean, I'm with
you.
Bud.
I don't even want to hear it. Don't.
Okay. Damn. He's so fed up with my shit, everyone. Send help. Next question.
The final question of the Q&A, and Foster's 5th of 5. I know I asked this before, but I want to see what has changed. What wrestlers do you like, but you don't know why?
What wrestlers do I like, but I don't know why? That's always I don't even know how I answered the first one, but I do remember you asking that, Foster, and it's such an interesting question to me because I feel like we never like or love anything without a reason prior, right? Like, we don't just like things indiscriminately. Maybe the world would be better if we did, I don't know, but like, those things always arise out of preferences, so I don't know. It just seems to be a question that goes against all common sense.
I like your face indiscriminately.
Oh my God, you're beautiful, sir.
I know, but so's your face.
Yeah, dude. Like, do you get what I'm saying, though, dude? Like, it's hard to answer a question like this because it just seems to go against all common sense. Like, if you ask me, why do I like Bailey? Well, you know, her promos and stuff like that. Like, I have reasons. If it's just like, I don't know. I said Baron Corbin last time, but I feel like even then it was like, oh, well, his bullying promos and this and that. I guess the best answer would be fucking Malcolm Bivens. Like, but then again, I could give a reason.
That's a really good one because I don't know why you love him so much either.
Yeah, and I could say it's like the humor and stuff. Like, I have my reasons, but then again, it's just like he's a manager, and I don't even see him that often. And yet, even when he's not here, like, I bring him up. So maybe that's a good answer. Rick Boogs would be another one because we haven't even really seen him, and it's like, well, why? And then I'd run out of reasons very quickly. So I'll say Rick Boogs and Malcolm Bivens. That's really the best I can do. What about you, bro?
Rick Boogs is a good one, but I don't want to steal your answer. I would say Shane Thorne, actually. I love Shane Thorne, and it's just one of those situations where I like him, and then after I already know I like him, I try and, like, justify why I like him with other, it's an after-the-fact explanation. Like, I like him, and then I'm just like, he's really good at this thing and that thing, and he's athletic, and he has a good look and all that stuff, but that's all, like, after the fact. Like, that's more me trying to justify why I like him rather than the actual reasons behind why I started liking him in the first place.
Right.
So I think Shane Thorne is a good one for me.
Yeah, it's a great answer.
All right.
You said that was his final question?
Yeah, that's the final question of this entire Q&A, man. We're done.
All right, and good news, everybody, because, I'd be the cohort and commentary in this case, because I was a freaking dumbass as the cohort and commentary of this thing. I guess screwed up the pin tweet, and I'm really, really sorry about that. But what I did was, even before we really got underway with this, I already updated the new pinned tweet. Normally, I only do that when we go off the air. I think now I'm going to start doing it if I can get in the habit of before we even go live with our prior Q&As. So, Q&A number, what Q&A
48.
number was this? This was 48. It says 47 in the title. No. So
yeah, well, this one is 47, but...
Okay, so I was right. Okay, so I have in the pinned tweet 48. I just want to confirm that. And that's going to be June 25th. So submit your Q&A questions. And also, guys, I want to get ahead of this, and please don't hate me, but I've kind of added in there the caveat. I would prefer no more J-Scum questions, only because after what happened with Hana, I'm really trying to, like, cut that shit out. I wouldn't feel comfortable anymore. It really kind of shook me to my core. I'll still do rants, like political and social, on things that I'm naturally against. Like that cop question from Racist Man, that's totally fine. But anytime you want me to be, like, deliberately mean or cutting, like, I'll give honest criticisms. I don't really want to body people anymore, you know? It just, I feel weird about it now with everything that happened. So, no more J-Scum questions. I'm retiring the whole bit. I apologize if I ever caused any pain with it. I was only having fun. But I know that, obviously, that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of consequences, so I will not be doing that anymore going forward. I just think it's the right thing to do. But that aside, that's just a little something I added to the pinned tweet. You guys get up to 3 questions for non-Patreon donors. Patreon donors can get up to 5 questions. You only need to donate $1 for Q&A. And, yeah, we hope to see you guys on June 25th for that. Most immediately... we will see you. When's our next commentary? Next Wednesday for NXT next week?
Let me pull up the schedule. I think you're right, though. Yes, next Wednesday. Yeah, we've got the quadruple header in 3 days, actually. We've got Wednesday, NXT, Thursday, preview predictions for TakeOver in Your House, and then Friday, both Unforgiven 06 and catch-up commentary number 12.
All right, guys, we will see you there. And, yeah, that's all I got to say. Thank you, everybody who showed up. We got 6 people watching now, 7 likes. Please leave a like as you file out. Click subscribe so you can stay up to date with what we're putting out. Click the bell icon for notifications to really ensure that you can stay on top of what putting out, because I know some people still come to commentaries late. If you want to be here from bell to bell, then click the bell icon.
Yes!
I am so fucking good at this, dude.
You don't need to tell me. I see it with my own 2 eyes.
Hell yeah. As always, guys, be good to yourselves.
I bore witness.
Yes. As always, guys, be good to yourselves and be good to each other. It was a cooler day here today, so I didn't feel like I was going to die, which that's good. I hope you guys are all staying cool out there. The sun can be fucking oppressive. Fuck the sun, but not really. I'm sorry. We love you, I guess. And just, keep staying safe out there, guys. We love you, and until we meet again, and just thank you for every time you invite us into your computer screens. I know the pandemic is still hard. You surviving makes you a fucking champion, so just keep it up. We love you. Hand it over to Ashton to take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as John already outlined, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon, and then head on over to Twitch. Follow us there and click that bell icon as well. If you'd like to support us, you can do so by subscribing on Twitch, buying our merch on Teespring, donating to our Patreon, and sharing this channel and this video with all your wrestling fan friends and letting them in on the best kept secret in the YouTube and Twitch wrestling communities. That's right, we are TWitWoW, and we are the workhorses of the Y and TWCs. We hope that you all enjoyed this month's Q&A, and we will be back next week for NXT on Wednesday, and then our NXT TakeOver in Your House preview predictions on Thursday night, and then a doubleheader on Friday at 5 p.m. We'll be going live with Unforgiven 2006 live reactions, and then at 10:30 p.m. at night, we will be going live with our 12th ever WWE catch-up commentary covering the 2 weeks worth of shows that have taken place since our last catch-up commentary, and also maybe touching on stuff that we might have missed due to the unfortunate news that we got in our last catch-up commentary. So we hope that you're all looking forward to all that stuff, and of course we hope that you're all able to remember to stay tuned.